the one piece of wording that nobody wants to hear yet remains fact, because regardless of how you feel, this is the truth. Tracing is cheating. Now, why do I say this? Because lots of you artists nowadays use referencing for your drawings. And yes, I get that references are needed in regards to like your practice ability, your ability to practice. But art, last time I checked, was the ability to improvise your creations, being able to make something fully from scratch based upon your own best ability. To anybody who's still tracing nowadays just does not know how to draw. And I'm gonna just be honest, because this started a mass discourse on X. There was a time when I was scrolling through X and I was seeing a bunch of people saying it's not bad to use 3D models to trace when you're drawing a drawing. But here's the issue. How could can anybody really claim it as stealing if you're using a 3D model to trace a drawing and then somebody traces over your drawing? Because technically, it's a tracing, regardless. You trace over a 3D model to make a body reference, and instead of just using it for practice and then upgrading beyond it, most people still stick with it. Like most people actually, even on X, make commission sales tracing 3D models. I think this is the most baffling thing of all time, because hilariously enough, the last time I traced a single thing was in 2016. I literally have not used any trace reference past that point. And anytime I would trace anything close, it was something I drew in my sketchbook, took a picture of, and then put it on Ibis Paint X for me to draw, or put it on Fire Alpaca or Clip Studio Paint. All of it comes from my sketchbook, and I don't trace a damn thing. But point being made, to anybody who says 3D models is not cheating or you can use reference to draw, I challenge you, because the core objective of to be an artist is to improvise and create from the standpoint of like pure creation. You can't even necessarily call yourself an artist if you're tracing your work. You're a tracer. Tracers and artists are not the same, because an artist can create something from scratch while a tracer has to use something that already exists to make something. And while there's no issue with that, just don't be a hypocrite and lie about it. And here's the issue. There's no issue with tracing. There's no issue with tracing itself. I think the real issue is people going and saying they drew this, drew that, drew this, drew that, but they have a 3D model in the background that they traced over. There's so many artists who could draw body shapes with zero issues, like none whatsoever, using straight shapes, anatomy practice, the same way we learned in all drawing classes that we ever do, to anybody who ever took one anyway. But point being made, I personally know tracing is cheating, because when you think about it, once more, you're still not creating from you. You're creating from something that already exists. When it comes down to drawing your own sketches digitally, that's completely different, because you created it in a sketchbook. Digitizing your sketch art is not a trace that's considered illegal, because you already drew the line art in the sketchbook. But tracing a 3D model that was made by somebody else and the quote-unquote resources that Clip Studio Paint has to offer, nah, that's straight cheating. I don't care what anybody says. That's cheating. Tracing is cheating in a professional standpoint. I don't care if people use traces to make body references much faster and make other things and make things seem like they speed up. But come on, when you think about it, we all know this is the case. So regardless of how anybody decides they want to feel about this video, I felt like I needed to make this a decent amount of time ago, because I saw somebody else making a video saying that using references is not cheating. But in a way, when you're using references and talking about you're an artist, you sell commissions and stuff, and you're actually tracing your art and you're selling people tracings, no, that's the real cheating. How can anybody even go by that in any way, shape, or form? This is just something that I felt like was just something that really, really needed to be said, because I see quote-unquote artists on X all the time talking about, oh, I trace 3D models. Oh, I trace 3D models. There's no big issue. Anybody who says that tracing 3D models ain't an issue. But here's the problem, though. You're not creating from original. You're not creating from improvisation. Tracing a 3D model is what a beginner does when they don't know how to draw a body shape. Now, when it comes down to getting to a specific point. Once you've practiced anatomy up to a particular point, you should genuinely ditch all models. And even if your work doesn't look as good, you just keep practicing until it gets better. But to anybody who thinks tracing is fine and making commissions and talking about being a pro artist when you trace, no, you're not. No, you're not. Let me go and put the nip that in the bud right now. No, you are not. There is nobody who can call themselves a professional who traces in any way, shape, or form. And yes, I don't care if people use tracing in the industrial standpoint to speed the process up. To be an artist is to improvise and create from scratch. Yes, there's quote unquote different types of artists, but the artist who improvises is the real artist, regardless. The one who creates from 0 to 100 is the real artist, not the one who creates from 50 to 100, because the extra 50% is the 3D model that you have to trace off of. You're never fully creating your own work if you're tracing what already exists. So thank you guys for this very beautiful listen, and I will definitely be back.